Hello, everybody. Hopefully, hopefully you're enjoying your Friday. I'm back here in St. Pete. You might get some boats coming by, making some racket. I wanted to see lots of boats. I wanted to record a little video today to share something that's been coming up all week in conversations with clients. And it's this idea of how we create ourselves in the context of others, how we create the creator, as I like to say. So some of you are working with or in the process of developing a declaration, and I think of that as the baseline, right? That's really how the creator creates itself. But then that creator goes out into the world and has the opportunity to create with others, other creators. And so often we do a really poor job of creating ourselves for others, for those that we're going to invite to something or propose something or what have you. And I'll share a story, again, that I've been sharing with a lot of the folks I work with all week, so it's very fresh for me, but it's something that happened about a year ago. And I was introduced to a gentleman who came through a referral, someone who's known me for a long time, so it was a very, let's just say a very strong referral. And we chatted, and I'll say this as bluntly as I can. There does not exist somebody on the planet that was more suited to serving this other person. This guy was, I think, about to turn 60. He wasn't sure if he wanted to sell his company, wasn't sure if he wanted to stay with his wife. He was at a pretty big crossroads in life, and that's kind of my people. So we had a wonderful conversation, and I invited him to work together, to work with me, told him what that would look like, and he said yes. That was on a Friday. So on a Friday, he said yes, I'll get that check in the mail, and looking forward to working with you. This is exciting. I'm ready for this. On or about Monday, I sent him I think a little video letting him know I was going to send him a couple resources he could begin to look at, use, digest, and said I'm looking forward to working together, and let's figure out some dates to get started. Well, I got a voicemail back from him, and the voicemail said something to the effect of, yeah, I've been thinking all weekend, and I'm not sure I'm ready for this. And, oh yeah, there's this other guy I talked to, and he's going to do what you're going to do for $250 an hour. And I don't remember exactly what I proposed to him, but let's just say it's a lot more than $250 an hour. All of my work with clients, I get paid in advance for a full year. That's the construct we work together. So some other guy's going to do what I'm going to do for $250. And I spent maybe the next day, maybe the next 3 days, might have even been a week, I don't know, having unpleasant thoughts about this gentleman. And when I say unpleasant, I simply mean judging him. What a moron, what an idiot. I can't believe he's doing this. I can't believe he thinks I do what that guy does what I do. You know? Basically pointing the finger at him, blaming him for making a bad decision. Well, after that settled and I got, looking inward, well, what I saw was I'd failed here. I'd failed him. Now, to me, this isn't about picking up a client. I got plenty of clients. I got plenty of opportunity. This is serving those that God, consciousness, the universe, whatever higher power you're choosing, puts in front of me to do what I'm supposed to do. So here's somebody, I know this guy's life, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, after we start working together, will be forever transformed. This is going to change everything in his life, and it'll be powerful for him. And now he's going to go work with somebody else. I had failed to create myself powerfully for him, right? If somebody's saying to me, well, somebody else is going to do this for what you're going to do, but for less. They're going to do the same thing. Well, whose fault is that? Right? See, I got on with this guy, and I had a conversation, and I asked all those deep and probing coachy questions and lots of pregnant pauses or whatever you're supposed to do there, and we got to a sense of his problem and what he wanted and what he needed. You know, I did what anybody would do in that circumstance in terms of really good discovery. What are you looking for? What's not working? Blah, blah, blah. And then I jumped right to the part where I said, okay, well, here's what it looks like to work together, and here's what we'll do, and it'll be great, and here's the results you'll realize. What I didn't do is take any time such that he would know who was doing the proposing, who was inviting him to work together for a year. So somebody else came along, probably asked some nice probing, coachy kind of questions, talked about what he wanted to create, same sort of stuff, at least it looks like on the outside. I said, yeah, $250. Well, what kind of moron would write me a check when you can get what you think is the same thing for $250 an hour? That would be silly. You see, we have no way, well, our clients, our prospects, those we're interacting with, have no way to know who we are, what we stand for, what we believe in, how powerful we are, unless we create that for them. And boy, do we hate doing that. We want them to know. We want them to go to our website. We want them to check out our content. And then they'll know how brilliant we are, how powerful we are. Well, they ain't going to do that. And even if they do that, they're not going to be able to distinguish you from anybody else. They don't know. So the way I think about it is really simply, we spent an hour together. Let's say I spent a half an hour getting to understand what it is this guy needed, what his situation was. I probably spent the next half an hour talking about what it would look like for us to work together. I spent zero time talking about who he'd be working with, me, who was going to be proposing something to him. So if I had to do it all over again, and this is how I behave these days, let's just take that second half an hour, the last 30 minutes after, oh, I see what you need, I see what's going on here. I would have gone a lot slower, and I would have taken that half an hour and probably spent 25 minutes of it letting him know who this guy was, me, who I am in the world, who's going to tell him we can work together in 25 minutes. So I would have said something like, in 25 minutes, I'm going to tell you what it looks like for us to work together. Before I do that, I want you to know who's telling you, who's proposing working together. Because if I don't break that down for you, if I don't really help you understand who I am in the world, well, you're going to think there's lots of people that can do what I do, and I promise you there's not. So I'm going to do something that's very uncomfortable for me, and that is I'm going to spend the next 25 minutes talking about me, talking about how amazing I am, talking about the results that I produce when I'm working with those that are fully committed. I'm going to tell you about marriages I've saved. I'm going to tell you about relationships with children I've helped prepare. Fathers that have been estranged from their kid for a decade. I work with them, all of a sudden they're back lovey-dovey again. And trust me, I don't like having that conversation. I want people to know. We all do, don't we? We want them just to know how great we are and how committed we are. They don't. They're never going to know. We got to tell them. I would have told them stories. I would have told them about the entrepreneur I met who was stuck at a certain revenue level with his company and his marriage wasn't working so hot, who 3 years later, $100 million showed up in his bank account, and talked about the relationship he now has with his wife and his kids. Would have told this guy I was proposing to that the person who was going to be proposing to him found out that this guy was 2 weeks away from going out of business. I've got dozens of stories like this. You see, I do some amazing work in the world. When I work with somebody who's committed, miracles happen. And not little bitty ones, big ones. Ones with lots of zeros on them. Ones with profound shifts in relationships. Ones with profound impacts in the world. And I would need to go through the trouble to help somebody understand what those are. So my message here is really very simple, and that is, who is doing the proposing or the inviting is as important, possibly more important, than what you're proposing or inviting somebody to. So many times we just show up and vomit an idea on somebody. And we don't take the time to, first and foremost, let them know who we see them as, create them for ourselves, create them for themselves. Then let them know who we are in the world, who's going to be proposing or inviting them to something. And we call that humility, and we call it modesty. I call it horseshit. Because this guy that this whole story was about, I lost the chance to serve him. I lost the chance to do what I've been put on this planet to do. Now, I'm sure the universe took care of him and he got what he needed someplace, but he didn't get what I could have created with him. I got a powerful lesson that day. The lesson is nobody knows who you are. And they don't actually care unless you share who you are in the context of how you serve others like them and the powerful results you create for them. They're not going to go figure it out. They're not going to read your testimonials. They're not going to believe them anyway. You got to get down and dirty and do the uncomfortable work of making sure that whoever you're speaking with knows exactly who you are in the world and how powerful you are. If you want to propose, right? If you want to propose or invite them to something, it's not just, why am I inviting you? Who's doing the inviting? So that's it. Little fun message on a beautiful Friday. At least beautiful here in St. Petersburg. Hope all of you are getting ready for a wonderful weekend. There was a post in the group here from a gentleman who did a Be With session with Steve. Steve gave him an assignment to create a self-acknowledgement document. All the things that you would acknowledge yourself for. That's a really great exercise. It's a great way for you to have an inventory of how you would create yourself, right? When you create yourself for somebody, nobody cares what school you went to, what certifications you have, how long you've been coaching, what your methodology is. Nobody gives a shit about any of that. What they care about is, what miracles have you performed, right? So you need to be very aware of and clear to the miracles that you've created. And you can't be making them up on the spot. So I really invite you and recommend that you go through a similar exercise for yourself. You should be able to fill pages of what have you done? What have you created? What have you created in the world that you wish you could be acknowledged for? You wish people would just know that you did. That's the most powerful tool we have as coaches or consultants or anybody wanting to serve in the world. You need to be able to let people know how you've created magic and miracles and powerful results for other people like them. That's all they care about. So if you can't say, I've done this, I've done that, I've worked with this person, here's what happened, I worked with this person, here's what happened. If you can't do that, well, it's a lot more work getting people to pay you big bucks. or any bucks at all. You guys have an amazing day.